All right, we are looking right here at special right triangles classwork. We are just going to look at 45, 45, 90 triangles today, and tomorrow we're going to look at 30, 60, 90. This sheet has both of it, so we're going to skip some, but we're going to come back and do them tomorrow. So I want you to make sure that you have this sheet with you tomorrow. All right, so let's go ahead and look at number 1. We are going to do a 45, 45, 90. So I suggest at the top of your sheet you write this. We have talked about this already. Again, this is review. And so I'm not going to do the whole reason why it works this way. But a 45, 45, 90 triangle, both sides across from the 45s are the same. And the hypotenuse, the side across from 90 degrees, is square root 2 as big. Okay? We did this when we were doing the cubes. You know, when we folded them. Yeah. Okay? We did this when we were doing the origami cubes. So if you know one side, you should be able to do all of the rest of the sides. Okay? So for number 1, what would W be? It would be 4, and then Y would be? Okay, so this is X. We get X square root 2 for the hypotenuse. So if this is 4, Y is going to be 4 square root 2. Yep. Okay, so let's see if we know the hypotenuse, what happens. What happens if we know the hypotenuse but don't know the other ones? So we're going to skip number 2, and we're going to look at 3. Q, why don't you go to your assigned seat so Madison can sit in her seat, please? Okay, so we know the hypotenuse is 6 square root 2. So what is W and Y? They're both going to be the same thing. What are they both going to be? 6. Okay. We're going to move right down to number 6. Okay. The hypotenuse is 7 square root 2. What do both sides have to be? 7. How are we doing? Okay? All right. Because we're going to move on to ones that are harder, so I want to make sure you're good. Okay, we're going to do 8 and 9, but we're actually going to do 9 first. If I know that this side is 9, what does W have to be? 9, good. What does Y have to be? 9 square root 2. Okay, now we're going to go for something harder. Number 8. Number 8's hypotenuse is 7. How am I going to figure out what both of these sides are? We know that 7 is the sides, I'm going to call them X. Square root 2 is big. How am I going to solve for what X is? What is square root 2 doing to it? Is it adding, subtracting, multiplying? So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. Good. So I'm going to divide it by the square root of 2. But we cannot have a square root 2 on the bottom. How are we going to get rid of that square root 2 on the bottom? Multiply square root 2 on the top and the bottom, because we have to do it to both. So we get 7 square root 2 over 2. And that's my answer for both of these sides. Okay. All right, number 11 is another easy one. You guys do it first. And I'll put that back up. When you're done writing that down, go ahead and do number 11. All right, guys, what did we get for number 11? What's W for number 11? 2. And what's y? 2 square root 2. Okay, let's turn it over. Okay, 14's another hard one, just like number 8. How am I going to figure this out? So 9 equals x square root 2, right? How do I get square root 2 by itself? How do I get x by itself, excuse me? Divide by the square root 2. So 9 over square root 2, and how do I get the square root 2 of the bottom? Times the top and bottom by the square root 2, and I get 9 square root 2 over 2. That's what both of these are. Okay, I want you guys to notice this pattern so it takes less time for you to do those. Okay, so if this is 9, these are 9 square root 2 over 2. So let's look back here. Number 8, this was 7, so these are 7 square root 2 over 2. So if we have a number without a square root on it, it's that number square root 2 over 2. Does that make sense? And then you don't have to do the work every single time. It's like a shortcut. You can do the work every single time, but it's just shorter to do it this way. Number 13, what is w and y both going to be? What is w and y both going to be? 7. Okay, let's move to 17. We just got 2 more to do. Let's move to 17. We've got multiple things to figure out. I want to know what y and w is, but I have to know the hypotenuse in order to do it. So what's the hypotenuse of this smaller triangle right here? 6 square root 2, which means what is also 6 square root 2? W. And then how do I figure out what y is? It is 6 square root 2 what? Times the square root 2, right? Because it's square root 2 is big. What's 2 times 2? What is the square root of 4? What's the square root of 4? 2. And what is 6 times 2? 12. So y is just 12. Okay, last one, number 21. If one leg is 9, what are the lengths of the other 2 sides? 9 and 9 square root 2. Perfect. Pretty quick after all that stuff we did for transformations, huh? Okay, don't lose this because we're going to do 30, 60, 90 triangles tomorrow using this sheet.